Hello there and welcome along to Hive Live Extra, your place for exclusive reaction and analysis following Watford's disappointing 2-0 defeat away at the hands of Brighton. Here with me in the studio to talk through the game, I'm joined by the former Hornet striker Tommy Mooney. Let's not shy away from it. That is a disappointing afternoon. Yeah, it is, certainly. I think with all of the expectation before the game from such a positive performance last weekend, I think it probably highlights the importance of concentration from the very first whistle. You know, Brighton took the game to us in the opening minutes and continued to pressure us in the first half, culminating in the goals. They did take it to us, and actually we struggled to deal with their shape, really, didn't we? Yeah, it seemed that they had more space and time all around the pitch, particularly in the first half, but then going in at 2-0, it almost gives them the opportunity to sit in their shape in the second half, and we couldn't break them down. I think, you know, we made mistakes in the first half in all areas of the pitch, and in the Premier League you're punished for them. It's very simple. As the game went on, we did get a few more chances, but I suppose that is the difference between the Championship and the Premier League, isn't it? Especially when you've got that 2-goal margin, it's that bit harder to get back into. Yeah, I think if there's only 1-goal deficit, then they're going to be nervous about holding on. 2-0 gives you that extra little bit of confidence to try and pass the ball in areas of the pitch where perhaps you just clear your lines. We were better in the second half, but still not good enough to create real opportunities. I think Tom Cleverley had one real good opportunity to get his shot off, and they got a block in on it. So it was almost a little too little too late at times. More on game specifics in a moment or two, and we're talking about some individual performances as well. But for now, let's take a look at the highlights.
Duffy gets close, and Duffy heads it in! Well, Shane Duffy, surplus to requirements last season, has got Brighton up and running on home soil here. Loose got beyond one, but not two. It's collected here by Sarr, who blazes over. Plenty of good build-up play from from Brighton, but Watford, for that matter, haven't mustered a shot on target yet.
Look, as I keep mentioning it all.
Basuma steals, here's Mopé, play on, scores! Pascal Gross needed a touch in there, Cudley! Cleverly, well worked by Watford, and Sanchez forced into a meaningful save for the first time. First touch really cost them any sort of penetration there. And that's good strength from King. What Watford needed at the top end. Dennis offside. Flag up early. Puts it in anyway, Emmanuel Dennis, just in case. But he seemed pretty sure, the assistant on this near side, Gary Bezic. Sarr. King, Cucho Hernandez. At the back for Watford, but it's back with Pascal Gross. Draws a save at the near post. McAllister chips it away from goal. Collected by King. Three wait in the middle. Deeney's one of them. Loud cheers around the Amex. The fans are back, and they have plenty to smile about.
Well, right from the word go, we were up against it a bit, weren't we? Especially to go behind so early. Yeah, I think they took that momentum. We had it last week with the crowd and the atmosphere. They certainly took that into the early stages of the game and put us on the back foot. And I think we really struggled to maintain possession of the ball. It was probably late in the first half before we had the opportunity to put half a dozen passes together. So they were certainly in the ascendancy for the majority of the game, which made it really difficult. Mopé then with the second, getting caught in possession on the edge of the area. Again, a real difference between the Championship and the Premier League. You will get punished. Yeah, absolutely, and you expect that. And Mopé's not one of the most prolific goal scorers, but he finished it off ever so well. I think probably just an error in decision making from Troost-Ekong
to try and find that pass. That sometimes in the Premier League you almost feel like you have to have that pass rather than getting it into the front players. And you know, we've seen last week how we had an awful lot of success by attacking quickly and playing perhaps a longer pass. It was the reverse effect this week. And you know, set pieces you expect us to defend well, but it was one of those, the header goes in the top corner. There's nothing Daniel Bachmann can do about that. But the second one was genuinely a Watford mistake.
Credit where it's due to Brighton, though, as well. They took their opportunities, which is something that they've not always done well in their previous seasons, particularly last season. It was something they were criticised for.
Yeah, and again, their home record last year wasn't good. The number of goals that they scored, home or away, wasn't good. But they've certainly got off to a good start at home this year with a 2-0 and win, which is exactly what they would have wanted. And everything we were trying to do was to almost combat against that. But they were just better on the day. It's one of those, there will be other games where we're better on the day. We might not get 3 points. They got what they deserved today.
In the build-up to the game, we were quite excited about what Sarr and Dennis might be able to do on that right-hand side again, but it never really happened today, did it? Why do you think that was?
I don't think we had enough possession to get them in the game. At home last week against Aston Villa, we bossed the middle of the pitch. You know, Etebo, Kucka and Tom Cleverley were in total control of the middle of the pitch. It was the opposite this week, and I think that affects how the timing of runs for Sarr, Sema, Dennis. When they want possession, they need it when they make the right runs. And I think today, at times, we're almost a little bit lackadaisical in the middle of the pitch, and the passes didn't keep coming. It wasn't fluid, and we certainly didn't get Ismaïla Sarr in the game like we had hoped and talked about.
Yeah, so much so that Xisco was arguably forced into substitutions a bit earlier than he would have liked to today.
Well, you've got to roll the dice and you've got to change things. He changed the shape, the personnel, and we had attacking players in all areas of the pitch, really. But when you're 2-0 down, you've got nothing to lose. You're not worried about goal difference in your second game of the season. So I can see that, and it's positive, but we just didn't have enough quality on the day to then go and change it. If we got one a little bit earlier, things might have been different because they'd have gone onto their back foot. But just getting that first goal today was an impossible task.
And actually, to try and sort of end this section on a positive, it did improve. At one point, we did have the ball in the back of the net. Unfortunately, it was chalked offside. But there did seem to be a bit of an improvement towards the end of that second half. Yeah,
there certainly was. But then going forward, you've got far more attacking players on the pitch. You expect to create opportunities. And perhaps just a poor timing of the run from Dennis, where he would have been in and got that goal with 15 minutes or so left in the game, where we can go and push them and really threaten them. So that was another setback. There was perhaps too many setbacks today for us to overcome it in the 90-odd minutes.
Well, that's our take here in the studio. Let's head pitchside now and get some exclusive reaction here on Hive Live Extra.
William, disappointing outcome this evening. How do you describe tonight's performance?
Yeah, I think everyone's disappointed with that. It was a game of two halves, very cliche, but first half we weren't good enough, and I felt we lacked on different areas. I think we couldn't really get close to them to try and get the ball back, and also we weren't giving ourselves enough time on the ball really to be dangerous. There was some moments, but I feel like we played into their cards, and we have to learn from that.
It was a slow start with a few misplaced passes early on. Is it too simple to say that kind of set the tone early on and meant that you were on the back foot from the opening stages?
Yeah, I think when you come and play away, I think from the kickoff, I think they already had an interception. So that isn't a great start. Also because they all feel like there's something possible today. So in that sense, like I said, we played right into their hand. And you see against a good team like Brighton, when they get going, then you're going to have to climb quite a big mountain to try and get back in the game. But then I have to add that in the second half, I think we changed formation and it worked a lot better for us. And it seemed like we could get on the ball much better, and we were all of a sudden dangerous again. So it's just hard that we have to learn by going behind first and going through all of that before doing things right. So that's the biggest lesson today.
Do you hold your hand up for the second goal?
Yeah. I spoke to the boys in the change room as well, so I take responsibility for that. We do try and play out from the back, and of course, if a mistake is not good enough, but sometimes it's going to happen. So I try not to let it affect the rest of my game. And I'm sure, throughout the season there's going to be more mistakes happening, and that's all part of it. It's about how you bounce back, and I feel like the second half, as a collective, we were much better, and I felt like we were threatening them again.
We saw such a vibrant attacking display last week against Villa, but you struggled to get the likes of Sarr and Dennis into the game, particularly in the first half. What do you put that down to?
And they would have watched that game against Villa as well and learned from that. So that's the kind of quality we're up against this year. So one game doesn't necessarily mean that you can do the same thing the next game, because everyone is seeing what you're doing and they're going to try and make it as difficult as they can. And we're going to have to be a bit smarter and stay ahead of the game as well.
How much encouragement do you take from that second half when you posed much more of a threat going forward?
Yeah, I think we have to. I mean, the season is so long, and it's the most important thing is to try and be consistent. Also, with our emotions, I think that's going to be massive as well. We need some maturity as well. There's going to be games where we were better, like last week, and there's going to be games where we didn't deserve to win, and that was today. So we have to learn from that. And I don't think it's going to be a season where we're going to win every game, and especially coming away against a good team. We're very organised, and you can see in their style of play. Something that they've been doing for a long time, so I'm sure they're going to make a lot of teams work very hard here. We have to learn from it, and by the time we play them again in the second half of the season, then we should be ready for them.
Well, looking ahead then, I suppose this isn't always going to be the case now that we are back in the Premier League, but it is quite a busy week. Got a cup fixture Tuesday, followed by Tottenham next Sunday, so hopefully a good chance to put things right quickly. Well,
the nature of the Premier League, there's very few midweek games, but having this cup game so early gives us the opportunity to take the momentum back onto the pitch. And at the EFL Cup, it'll give some of the players that haven't played too many minutes in the opening two games opportunities to play, I'm sure. And if not, the starting 11 from today could go out and play Tuesday. I think it's just about retaining that momentum and the feeling from the dressing room of the Aston Villa game, getting that back as quickly as possible, and then going into another vitally important game at Tottenham in the Premier League.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see which approach Xisco does go for on Tuesday night. With there being 2 weeks left of the transfer window, do you expect he will roll the dice a little bit? We might see some faces in there that we haven't seen so regularly.
I think it's the norm for Premier League teams to do that in the early stages of the Cup. And obviously this is our first game, and it'll be role reversal of the Crystal Palace game a couple of weeks ago in pre-season. They'll play some younger players. I'm sure we'll play some squad players or fringe players, or certainly the ones that have had very little pitch time already. So yeah, it'd be interesting to do, but nevertheless, the most important thing is having the attitude of maintaining a winning dressing room. So whether it be cup or league, we're in it to win it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Palace's approach is actually, because in a similar vein, they'll probably look upon it as a chance to get a bit of a morale boost, because they're yet to register a win at all so far this Premier League season.
Yeah, again, and like I said, I watched them in the friendly game at Selhurst Park, and there's not an awful lot of depth in that squad, because the transition of players in that squad this summer has been huge. So it will be interesting to see which team they play, but you come to Vicarage Road, you're not got to worry about the opposition. I think he put out a strong Watford team. The bench is strong, as well as the starting 11 today. So it's just one of those, we didn't get the right result, but the players are still good enough that are in that squad to go out and win games.
Well, hopefully that is the case on Tuesday evening, because then that trip to Tottenham on Sunday, it's not going to be an easy one, is it?
No, it's not. Local game, really difficult time to go to Tottenham, because they're very similar to Palace. They're in a transition with the manager and a lot of the squad. Be a good time for the supporters to go and see the new stadium, but we will also want to go and win that game.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll leave it there. Do keep an eye out on the club's social media channels over the next few days for more reaction, and as we start to look ahead to a busy week. But for now, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
You know what to do. Get in the comments below.